Howdy y'all, welcome to EIM for Mobility here on KidPass. I'm Mar with Elementally Functional Family Fitness, presenting Elementally Intuitive Movement. Elementally Intuitive Movement is normally 6 levels, but we're going to go through the first 3, which is level O, getting to know our guides, level 1, finding our centers, and level 2, expanding into our spheres. Before we do that, we're going to warm up with what I call shimmy. So we're going to put our hands together and move them from side to side. Let our knees go, maybe put our feet a little bit further apart, knees loose. And now move from side to side, ensuring that our heads are stable. We don't want our heads shaking. We want our heads stable, supported, while the rest of us is moving. Then we add more movement to the arms. You see the rest of the body moves as well. This is helping to warm up our joints and our muscles and get our blood flowing. Then we start moving from side to side so that we get used to maintaining our lower body in motion as we have our upper body in motion at the same time. We also want to inhale through our nostrils because our noses are filters, and exhale either through our noses or our mouths. Not only as we warm up, but through the entire practice as well. Breath is our first foundation. Now we're going to let go of our arms, but keep our bodies in motion. And now we're going to add in our arms and get wacky. Wacky arms. We are consciously kind, yes. We are collectively kind, yes. Wacky, wacky, wacky arms. And this is a great way for our bodies to quickly process tension. If we have a lot of excess energy, whether it be distress or eustress, it doesn't matter to the body, it's stress. We can process it out with shaking our bodies and waving our arms around. And there, we've warmed up. So now that we've had our warm up, we're going to move on to level O, which is getting to know our guides. And with level O, our hands are connected. They can be connected back to back, fingertip to fingertip, palm to palm. They can shift orientation. But what matters most is that they maintain that connection because they are our guides. And as we explore the different orientations that we can put our hands in, our arms are moved. And as our arms are moved, so are the rest of us. And as we're moving through space, our base, which is our feet, stay planted onto the ground. Now they can shift orientation, but mainly we keep that base planted on the ground and then explore space with our hands as our guides. Having our feet planted to the ground forces the rest of our bodies to have to adapt. And in the process of adapting to that, we're moved. And we get to explore movement in ways that we don't usually move through space. Which reminds our bodies that we can move in that particular way. Aside from having our feet planted, we want our feet, our toes to be in alignment with our knees. Not too far out, too far in, but fairly centered. If they're a little bit out, a little bit in, that's all right. But mostly we want it centered to help protect the cartilage that's in our knees so that the force is distributed evenly across the knee joint as we move. So breath and base are 2 foundations, but in between breath and base, we have our center. Our center is composed of 3 parts: our shoulders, our belly, and our hips. To stay upright, we need our shoulders back and our belly holding us up versus out and relaxed, holding in and up, shoulders back. And then when we bend, we want to hinge from our hips, because as we hinge from the hips, it helps to protect our spines. So you see, my spine is straight because I'm hinging at the hip when I change elevation and bending my knees as well. So it's a combination of that unit working together. So there's our center. So base, our feet, center, Just hips, belly, and shoulders, and breath, which is in our center as well, yes, because our lungs are a part of that process, but we inhale from our nostrils. And continue exploring space. Now, as we're exploring our spheres with our hands connected, we're exploring our near sphere. And contracting in, expanding out. And we're exploring planes. So we have the horizontal plane, the vertical plane, and diagonal planes. Rectilinear motion is in a straight line. Curvilinear motion is curvy. Alternating between curvilinear and rectilinear gives us an opportunity to explore space in different ways. Now, I must say, you don't have to do what I'm doing. All I'm doing is showing you examples of ways that we can explore space. What matters most is that you pay attention to how it feels in your body as you're exploring. If it's comfortable, keep on doing that. If it doesn't feel comfortable, then don't do that. Try it a different way. Shift. This is how our bodies recognize what feels comfortable for our vessels and what doesn't, because everybody's different. The goal of elementally intuitive movement is for you to guide your own vessel, or rather for your vessel to guide you as we listen to our bodies and our nervous systems as they provide us feedback based on how we're moving through space. We can go slowly or quickly. Mix it up. As long as it feels comfortable, there's no right or wrong way to do it. Mainly we're sticking to those restrictions of our feet being planted and our hands being connected, because those limitations are what free us to explore and find so many things that we can do within those constructs, within those boundaries or parameters. So now that we're familiar with level with level O, which is our first level. O is our first level. We can move on to level 1, which is our second level, finding our centers. So our feet are still planted, stationary bases that we can shift orientation, but they're stuck to the ground. And now our hands are stuck to us, but they can move. So gliding around with contact on our bodies. And this is helping us to get a sense of proprioception, which is where our bodies are in space. As we're doing that, we're stretching, we're mobilizing very gently. And this is an opportunity to give ourselves a massage if we want to, so we can add pressure and force by just leaning into our hands. We can squeeze with our hands if we want to. If we want to, we can use our fists or the heels of our hands, of our palms. Or we could do very lightly just fingertip contact, maintaining contact with our bodies. Regardless, we're getting a sense of proprioception, which is where our bodies are in space. We can take this as an opportunity to give ourselves gratitude from head to toe and thank our vessels for carrying us through space, because they do. If we didn't have these bodies, where would we be? Now we can mix in some level O with our level 1. And 1.5, we explore our sphere with one free hand while we maintain a hand on our body as an anchor for our motion. So in a way, our arm serves as a rudder to guide our movements, while the hand on the body, the anchor, provides us stability. As we explore and begin to expand into our sphere, so we're halfway to level 2 from 1. Still maintaining those stationary bases that can shift orientation, but once we've shifted orientation, explore before changing again. So that way we become familiar with the ways that we can move through space with the limitation of one hand free, one hand on the body, and both feet planted at a particular way. Specific format. And now, level 2, we can expand into our spheres. So we have both arms out. And still, stationary bases as we explore and stretch out as far as we can in every direction. Still continuing to inhale through our nostrils. Make sure that our shoulders are upright and back, that we're holding ourselves up from our centers, and that we're hinging at the hips anytime that we're changing elevation. Why do we pay attention to these 3 foundations of breath, center, and base? So that we can train our bodies and our autopilots to keep track of that the rest of the time when we're not practicing elementally intuitive movement. And mix it up. 1.5. 1. Oh. 1. 1.5. 2. However you feel like doing it. It's up to you. Every day is different. Every day our bodies feel different. Every day our practice is different. What remains the same is the foundations and the levels, the order that we follow as we explore space with our vessels through our spheres. Your sphere extends to the end of your hands in every direction and beyond, if you can imagine that. As we explore space, held within the limitations of our feet being planted on the ground, or the specific restriction of each level, 1, 1.5, 2, we get to learn how our body operates within those confines. And then we get to explore all that may be possible within those confines. And then with practice, we become much more confident in our foot position and how to support our bodies as we're moving through space. So when we're ready, we can move on to level 3 and pick up our feet, move around while we integrate all of the arm motions while exploring our spaces with mobile bases versus stationary bases. But for now, stationary bases are enough because we can get a lot of mobilization in a very small amount of space. You see, I haven't left a square. I haven't needed to. So this is something that we can do together with family to mobilize ourselves and to express our individuality, choosing to do and move in whichever way we feel compelled to move each particular day within our levels. 1, 1.5, the secret level, 2, and then putting it all together while we maintain awareness of breath. Inhaling through our nostrils, center, holding ourselves upright with our shoulders, our stomach, and hinging at our hips to support our spines. and base, ensuring that our feet are in alignment with our knees in a way that best supports our knees. And then to add even more to your practice, you can help support your body's vagal tone, vagus nerve tone. And our vagus nerve helps us process tension. It's a part of our rest and digest system. So it helps us process stress, whether distress or eustress. Either way, stress is stress. Our vagus nerve is called vagus because it's a vagabond. It travels very far. It runs from our brain all the way down into our bellies and through our system. And it sends information back and forth between the two. And we can support vagus nerve tone through either pardon me, I have to wait for him to finish what he's doing. Thank you. We can support vagus nerve tone through either singing, toning, humming, laughing. So what we're going to do is continue our elementally intuitive movement. We're going to keep doing our EIM, but we're going to add a vagal tone to it. And you can do however levels. If you want to have all level 2 arms, go for it. If you want to do level O or 1 through the whole thing, that's fine. Or if you want to mix it all up, however, it's up to you. It's your practice. And we're going to laugh the vowels. So A-E-I-O-U, A-E-I-O-U, ha 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 ha, he 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 he, ho 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 ho, hoo 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 hoo, ah ha 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 ha, he 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 he, oh ho 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 ho, hoo 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 hoo, ah ha 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 ha, he 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 he, woo hoo 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 hoo. And there we go. And yes, that wasn't real laughter. It's true, it was fake laughter, but that's okay. It still benefits our vagus nerve tone. And sometimes when we fake laugh, we get real laughter as a process. So that's one side. That's one side effect there. So we continue on. And now we're going to do some Om with our motion. And it definitely increases the workout when we add that vagal toning into it as well. So you get more cardiovascular activity, you get more benefit out of your practice. Those few minutes a day that you devote to mobilizing your body and supporting vagal nerve tone. And there we go. That is the first 3 levels of elementally intuitive movement. And that's enough to get you started so that you can build your own daily mobility practice, intuitive movement practice, improvised movement practice that serves you for your day, because every day our bodies are different, every vessel is different, but we can follow this structure and then move as we feel compelled to that day as we go through 1, 2. Maybe some days we feel more energetic and we want to do it more intensely. Other days we might feel more tired, so we do it more slowly. It's fine. As long as we mobilize every day, our bodies appreciate that time that we're giving them to mobilize. All right, if you appreciate this and are ready to progress, then join me for Elementally Intuitive Movement on KidPass. It's a 36-week program. It's an entire semester. The order matters because we go through all the levels, looking at each foundation. There's 6 foundations, 6 levels. So it takes us 36 weeks. How about that? That's enough for the year. And by the end of it, you don't need me anymore because you are your guide and you have what you need. Thank you so much.